This is Ronnie, and I'm going to try talking about the different symptoms and the different traits of PTSD that I at least go through. And then I'm going to try to talk about the ones that I've at least heard about from other veterans from speaking to them. So a lot of it it's anger. When all other emotions fail, when you actually feel other emotions that you're not as familiar with because you've cut it out. One part of being in the military is breaking yourself down and building yourself back up. And like when my sister died, I wasn't able to cry. Every time I actually felt sad because she was leaving or because she was gone, it turned into anger. Just because that's the familiar emotion that I feel. I'm pissed off a lot. And so, yeah. Another one, some could actually, it's been related to as bipolar. When I first started getting shit evaluated, that's what I initially got diagnosed with, as bipolar. And as things progressed, the doctors pulled their head out of their ass and was like, oh, he's not bipolar, he has PTSD. And that's when I started learning about it on my own and through them. With that, when I black out drunk, it never fails. I try starting a fight, even with my friends. I want to fight. It's a anger thing, a release, and part of it is just like, I guess, from my point of view, in the military, it's a competitive thing. It's a dominance thing, trying to establish dominance over the people around you. To show that you're the alpha male. To try proving to yourself and to everybody else that you are capable of fighting and capable of actually doing what you said you were. Another thing is, like I said, the nightmares. It doesn't just go back to the events that happened over in Iraq or wherever. It gets, in my head, it gets manipulated into the things that I fear the most. That shit happening, and please don't think I'm actually fucking think whatever you want. Sometimes it gets turned into bad shit happening to my kids. It actually intermingles, and that's what fears the most. It also happens with my wife, a woman I love dearly, and it's one of the things that after I have that, I can't go back to sleep, and I feel like shit afterwards because my mind actually was able to develop such fucking morbid and shitty thoughts, which kind of contradicts what I had said about embracing yourself. But I said it doesn't always work. It doesn't always happen as great and as planned as everything else. Just like life itself, it fucks you in the ass sometimes. No pun intended. But yeah, there's times, especially when you're asleep, you don't have full control over yourself. And like some people, they come out swinging. And don't try even poking them with a fucking broom handle, because they'll take it and beat you with it. So yeah, the mind likes to fuck with you, and that's where your demon lies, at least for me. And with that, like I described before, sometimes it's just an uncontrollable rage where you can't think of anything else and you can just feel it growing inside of you, and there's just nothing you can do except get away. Otherwise you're going to take it on people that you love or friends or whoever. Being at a bar or whatever, yeah, it could lead to other unpleasant events. But another thing that is, from what I understand and have experienced or witnessed, people being behind you makes you very uncomfortable. I don't like people behind me because I don't know what they're doing, and it's at least ingrained in my own head that if somebody's behind you, they have the capability of taking your weapon and using it on you and everybody around you. And it's ingrained in my head and it's part of my training. And so, yeah, I feel very uncomfortable with anybody behind me. And sneaking up on me, that's a good way to get fucked up. Going to a club or a bar, being around a whole bunch of people, it royally fucks with who I am, my vibrations, everything. I don't even feel like myself when I'm around a bunch of people. When actually someone tries striking conversation, I completely freeze up. I don't know how to even really be myself and actually trying to engage in the conversation, actually start it. That I completely have brain farts and I don't even know how to start, aside from, hey, what's your favorite color? Which, yeah, I'm a little old for that. So stupid shit like that is about all I can come up with when it comes to actually trying to strike up a conversation when I'm around a whole group of people. And I generally fucking, I don't know, sit in the shadows and let everybody else do their thing, and I kind of sit there and sip on a beer because I just don't like being around a lot of people. And something tells me there's other motherfuckers out there that are the same way. Another thing, alcohol, to call it self-medicating, alcohol, weed, whatever. It's cool and all. I mean, it does help sometimes to a degree, but it's just like the medication. It's kind of suppressing what's already there. And yeah, some people it's an escape at the time, but at the same time, with alcohol you tend to do stupid shit and ended up making a bad situation worse. Not always, and I'm not speaking for everybody, but for me, alcohol was not my friend. And I've woken up in a hospital with because I fell through a window and ended up cutting myself to the point where I couldn't get it to stop bleeding. Well, this is what I was told. My roommates couldn't get it to stop bleeding, along with one of my best friends. And so they took me to a hospital. I started cussing out the nurses and the doctors, telling them they didn't know what the hell they were talking about, and freaking out and everything else. Talked to one of my other friends. Can't remember his name. We were jamming on a guitar, both of us. And I kept yelling at him. He was prior military also. I kept yelling at him. Did I get him? Did I get him? Save some for me. And I just kept repeating it over and over and over again. And eventually they got tired of it and they started freaking out, all the doctors and nurses. And so they called my captain. And mind you, he was prior ranger. And I started cussing him out too. And everything else. Nothing came of it in a disciplinary action because he was a ranger and he understood what was going on. And he didn't beat the shit out of me. Thank you. Again, I don't remember his name either because I have fucking TBI also. TBI, traumatic brain injury, it basically spells out can't remember shit. Something else I'll address in a whole nother thing. I have my issues also, and that happened, I want to say back in 2004, 2005, like almost, 10 years ago, 11 years ago. And so I have evolved, I have developed over time and understood more of what's going on. So kind of like in the military, the best way to combat the enemy is to actually understand them. Just like PTSD and the demons inside. Best way to combat them is to get a better understanding of them. So, again, this is DB Ronnie, and I hope this helps